Focused and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of June 5, Wednesday. I'm Riza Diaz. For those who are using Grab, brace yourselves for longer wait times and more expensive trips. That's because 8,000 Grab cars are set to be deactivated next week. Gerard De La Peña will tell us more.
Quezar uses the ride-sharing service Grab every day to travel between his home in Mandaluyong and his work in Makati. He says it takes time to book a ride, especially during rush hour.
Minsan isang oras eh. Yung pagbubuk pa lang yun
Right now, Grab's 45,000 active units can serve only about 60% of the 460,000 bookings made daily. And it looks like the number is about to go even lower as Grab sets to deactivate 8,000 units from its roster next week. These are the drivers and operators still without franchises issued by the LTFRB before the June 7 deadline.
Pagtugon yan sa regulation ng LTFRB, meron silang strictly ngayon na gustong i-enforce at i-implement. As it is, hindi nakakamatch ang supply natin sa demand. So pagka binawasan pa natin, then may chance na talagang masihira pa ang pag-book.
But drivers and operators claim it is too difficult to secure franchises from the LTFRB.
Hindi namin fault, hindi rin fault ng mga TNC, fault ng LTFRB kasi yung PA itself, sasabihin 20-30 days ang release pero hindi naman na-release.
The LTFRB was surprised by Grab's announcement as it did not expect so many units to not have franchises.
Ang pagkaalam ko po, menos na lang kasi nga since January, according to Grab, they have been deactivating in the hundreds if not thousands weekly.
The LTFRB said it will summon Grab officials to clarify things. Grab said it will ask the LTFRB if it could make it easier for operators to secure franchises. For News 5, Gerard De La Peña, we are One News.
Today is Eid'l Fitr, and that marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan. What we're looking into right now are live pictures from the Quirino grandstand where our Muslim brothers and sisters are gathering to celebrate the Islamic holiday. Now, Eid'l Fitr prayer has just started, and that prayer will be immediately followed by a banquet. Now, around 10,000 people are expected to join the Eid'l Fitr celebration in Quirino grandstand, while a similar celebration will also be conducted at the Golden Mosque in Quiapo. Now, as I've said, this marks the end of Ramadan, which is the holy month of fasting and reflection for Muslims. And just a reminder, today is a regular holiday. The Comelec is now sharing the same view with President Duterte, who wants to scrap the use of Smartmatic in the 2022 elections. Patricia Mangune has the story.
Comelec Chairman Sheriff Abbas is open to procuring new vote counting machines for the elections in 2022, saying he is no longer confident in reusing the VCMs from Smartmatic which were used in the last two elections.
Ako personally, kakabahan na ako sa pangatong beses. But kung wala talagang option, kami naman sa Comelec, we are just a good soldier, then gagamitin pa rin namin siya.
But Comelec clarified that Smartmatic can still join the bidding process for new machines. But they say skipping this step may expedite the procurement process.
Titingnan nga natin kasi siyempre aralin natin yung basis naman na kung bakit din sila pwede. So tingnan natin. Pero ang pinaplano namin, ako personally, baka makakakuha tayo ng exemption from the Congress na exempted kami for procurement.
This comes after President Duterte urged the Comelec to drop Smartmatic.
Kasi he doesn't want that any election in the future would be tainted with a whiff of fraud or allegations that will produce the effect of people doubting the credibility of an election. Kaya nga sinasuggest siya, tingnan nyo.
The Comelec also had to face Congress to explain why their transparency server had a 7-hour glitch on May 13. They arrived at no clear answer, only theories from local source code reviewers and the Technical Evaluation Committee.
The stored procedures, actually that's what we were looking at, could possibly be the cause of the 7-hour glitch.
So we will need to really understand and make a deep dive of how the delay happened.
The Comelec said they will submit a technical report once they conclude their investigation. Meanwhile, Senator Coco Pimentel plans to propose a hybrid election system, a mix of automated voting and manual counting, which he believes may boost the credibility of elections.
Ngayon, tali ang kamay ng Comelec, they have to implement an automated election system. But if we want to witness the counting at the precinct level, ang tawag natin dyan is hybrid. Hybrid because may manual part at may automated part, we need to amend the law.
For News 5, Patricia Mangune, we are One News.
Meanwhile, here are the biggest stories from the dailies. The Comelec has approved the last-minute petition of former National Youth Commission Chairman Ronald Cardema and 4 others to be a substitute nominees for the Duterte Youth Party list. The Philippine Star reports that this is after the poll body granted the withdrawal of the original 5 nominees of Duterte Youth. Cardema and the other 4 substitute nominees are all more than 30 years old, which is supposed to be the maximum required age for a youth sector representative. Now, the Comelec has yet to resolve the 10 petitions filed opposing Cardema's substitution bid. Good news for those planning to change mobile network plans soon. Business World reports that telcos will now be required to allow customers to unlock mobile phones starting this month. Currently, two of the country's telco giants offer subscription deals that allow customers to buy mobile phones free of charge or through a subsidy, but under a certain lock-in period with the provider. Now, under the NTC circular, postpaid users must have already completed their service contract and have no outstanding payment left to the provider before they can have their phones unlocked. And this from Filipino Star ngayon, the Food and Drug Administration has identified 5 vinegar brands which contain synthetic acetic acid. Now, despite clarifying that the chemical does not pose health risk, the FDA warns retailers not to sell these brands to maintain the quality of vinegar. Take a look at the list from the FDA. China has reportedly withdrawn at least 100 of its fishing vessels near Pag-asa Island. But will this move last? JC Cosico has the report.
Amid tensions in the West Philippine Sea, Special Envoy to China Ramon Tulfo confirmed Tuesday that China has withdrawn 700 fishing boats near Pag-asa Island.
I received a report from an emissary that yung 100 barko, fishing boats, ay winithdraw na sa Pag-asa. Ito ay sinakatuparan nila. They were true to their promise that they would withdraw 100 ships initially. Sabi nila, those ships will disappear in due time.
Tulfo said it is the initial withdrawal of Chinese vessels in the area. The backdoor talks began shortly after Tulfo was appointed Special Envoy to China back in November 2018. Discussions were held in Hong Kong and just recently in Beijing during the president's visit last April. Tulfo added that Chinese officials were polite during the discussions. He said China insisted on their claims in the disputed waters, but assured there won't be any aggressive moves as China, they said, loves President Rodrigo Duterte.
They will not give up the islands, sabi nila. Amin talaga yan eh. At saka wag na ninyo insista talagang andyan na kami. We will be there to stay. But for as long as the president is here, your president is there, mahal namin siya eh. Hindi kami manggugulo.
When asked about their stand when Duterte is no longer president,
paano kung wala na siya? Hindi sila kumibo.
In March, the military confirmed the presence of hundreds of ships and vessels circling Pag-asa Island. Malacanang says it sees no problems with the presence of the United States in the South China Sea, especially if this would result in stability in the region. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said all South China Sea claimant countries, including Brunei, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Taiwan, have the right to freely navigate in the South China Sea.
Philippines' position is that every country has the right to use the waters in the South China Sea as well as the airspace. And we want peace and quiet in that area. So anything that will have atmosphere, we are for it.
So we are.
If the presence of the U.S. will make it so, then that's good for all of us, all of the claimants.
Meanwhile, Tulfo also reported about China's plans to invest in the country. He said about 100 Chinese companies and factories affected by the trade war between the U.S. and China have plans to relocate in the Philippines. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
Moving on now to today's weather. Mindanao will experience scattered rain showers and thunderstorms today. That's because of the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or the ITCZ, which is the merging of winds from the northern and southern hemispheres. The ITCZ is also affecting the Visayas and Palawan. Meanwhile, the rest of the country, particularly Luzon, may only experience localized thunderstorms later today. Now, for the Gilas 3x3 fans who are throwing their support at the women's team today, weather in Ulaanbaatar will be generally fair. But don't forget your jacket, as temperatures may drop to -1 degrees Celsius. Let's fast break now to Sports Rush. The Philippines is locked in a three-way tie for the second spot at Pool C of the FIBA 3x3. The Gilas Bells need to rack up their wins in their next two games to advance to the next round. Paulo Del Rosario with the story.
The Gilas Pilipinas 3x3 Under-18 women's national team continues its FIBA World Cup journey in Mongolia. The Filipinas will take on European nations, the Netherlands and Czech Republic, in a bid to qualify from Pool C. With only the top two countries advancing to the knockout stage, the team knows that they have to play their A game.
Czech Republic was the third runner-up last year, so and then now Netherlands beat them. So it's going to be a go all out again tomorrow for them. We have to really guide these kids for their first time.
You know, I owe it to my teammates, I owe it to my country. We all had that puso, we all had that will to fight the second game, and we know we had to win that or else we're, going to go home.
The Gilas Pilipinas girls takes on the Netherlands at 5 p.m. before tackling the Czech Republic at 8:20 p.m. Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. For Signal TV, Paulo Del Rosario. We Are One News.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We Are One News.